All right. Good afternoon. It is September 3rd, 2021. And today we really had another range day. We had some sort of news item here. And I'll delete these measured moves, but it looks like we made a couple measured moves. And maybe this is even. Yeah, this is like, it's almost like three measured moves, really. That's what those were. So we had this news item right here. I didn't think it was gonna. I thought since it was not FOMC, it wouldn't be that dramatic. So I was trading. But yeah, I went long here, and it was like I was in and out in like 2 seconds or something like that because the news item just shot it up, and then I guess they didn't like what happened in that announcement, and we started just moving down, big moves down. Oh, I remember why I had that measured move on there, though, just to explain why I was okay with going long here. So, oh my gosh, you can see that. So we made this leg up after the break of this downward channel. We made this leg up, and I walked away from this. So I was wondering, I was like, oh, maybe we came up short, but you can see right there. We went probably 2 or 3 ticks higher and then just started reversing. So it's pretty amazing how these measured moves work. But yeah, just a range day. So let's take a look at these trades. I don't want to miss anything. I feel like I've been going very quick lately. But you can see in the overnight, starting from yesterday. Yesterday we had, right at the end towards the close, we had this spike in channel. And I actually took this entry. This is aggressive, but it looked like a spike in channel, and it was off that trend line. So we started this, formed this channel, and in the overnight we spiked up and overshot this channel, and that led to some congestion, and then we get this break, and we get this break, and then it really just looks like congestion. So I had the lows of this congestion marked right here, and we make this what I viewed as a failed break lower, but it also looks like a first failed second entry short. Not sure if that's a good spot to be trading these failures. So because lately, I'm just trying to take failures that are clearly in like a strong spike up or down, or in a channel, clearly in a channel off the trend line. But I looked at this. The only reason I went long above this poor signal bar is because it's also a failure. So I really looked at it as a failed break out of congestion. But since it's a failure too, I thought to myself that I could go long above this weak signal bar. So anyway, quickly got filled there, and then all this happened. I had to walk away from the computer. I do believe that this is the trend line, and it starts from that bar. And because of that, I don't think you can go short here, because it'd be really hard to tell that that's the trend line. But you can see here, we made 1 leg down, 2 legs down. That's 2 measured legs down, and that's beneath the overnight lows. And so because we made 2 measured legs down, and then we make this attempt to go lower here, and me personally, I was waiting for a setup to go short. So once the setup to go short turned bullish, and we get this engulfing bullish signal bar, I viewed that as a really good place to go long. That's a failed second entry short. It's aggressive because, man, is it even aggressive? I don't know. I like this trade. Let's take a look, because it's probably off the trend line too. I mean, you could argue that that's the trend line, but really, that's probably the trend line. So, but yeah, I mean, I was hoping for a short setup. So once that clearly fails, that's when I was like, all right, let me go long here. And I actually In the moment, I didn't even think about this, but I went long above this bar, and maybe the better place to enter is above this bar, which would have saved you a tick. But I do like that entry. And not sure if you went long here. That's a third entry anyway. But I looked at it as like a high or low. 39.75, so you got to get a 41. So that's a 4-tick failure right there. So that's why you follow the rules, because that looked so good. But maybe you would go a tick above this bar, and that would have gotten you the scalp. And then the floor falls from beneath it, and we get this huge move down. And I didn't see this, but you see it gaps up and then goes down too. So people are probably right here thinking this is a level of support, so they go long and then they get trapped. Here we get a little bit of a bounce, then it comes down. We make a new low, and then you get a first entry, second entry. If that signal bar was better, that would definitely be red, but that's a weak signal bar. And we had pretty much 3 legs down. I was looking at it as, so I wasn't sure, but we get confirmation of the trend down here to the low side for sure right here. And let's look in here. Was there anything? No, unfortunately, no entries in here. First entry and no tick higher. It's far from the EMA too, though. So we get a break of that channel, and then I think if you find this level of resistance up here, we hit that level of resistance here, make a lower high, make another lower high. That's a failed second entry long. I think you can go short there. Off the EMA as well. Only thing I wouldn't like is it looks like we're finding support here, especially since it bounces here. And also because this swing didn't make it to the bottom of the channel. But at the same time, it didn't make it to the top of the channel. So that's a reason to think that it's a strong trend down. That's another thing, is we had been consistently making lower highs. This is a strong trend down. So that's another reason I think that's a red trade, and that's one you want to go short on. So we don't make it to the bottom of that channel, and if you're feeling aggressive, there's a first failed second entry short right here, and that is a common trap, is like right at the trend line, but I'm not going to take that. It's definitely counter trend at this point, but it is off the trend line, short-term trend line, so that's something to consider. And then we form this potential trend channel, and you get a first entry, second entry, off the trend channel, off the EMA. Only reason it's aggressive is because we just broke that channel, and that was a big move down. So we are expecting movement to the downside again, but it's a second entry long, and it's at the key entry point. So I do like that. This turns out to be congestion, this area, but at this point, we haven't made any move down. And so when I saw this, I thought this was an awesome setup for a failed second entry short. Awesome setup. I really wanted to take this, but I already hit my profit target for the day, and I just wanted to practice restraint. But this is a great setup. First, failed second entry short. And this looked like one leg down to me. Look, we get one leg, 2 legs of correction, 1 leg. So I'm expecting another leg down, and that's exactly what you get. So I was really excited when I saw that. Let me delete this leg. It's getting a little crowded on my screen. But yeah, once this trend up forms, you get a first failed second entry short, because this definitely trapped shorts. Look, nice engulfing bar. I was looking at this, so I didn't take it, but this is clearly a level of support. So just skip that. So once this happens, as soon as this ticks higher than this, I would go long above here, but maybe I'm not supposed to. And if anyone can clarify, maybe I'm supposed to go one tick above that for a failure, this bar. Because look, once it ticks above that, it takes off. And you get a quick scalp out of that. But at this point, once we bounce here and then here again, then it's just looking like congestion. The EMA supporting here, but I was looking at this for a short, but that would have failed. And look, you get one leg up, so expect a second leg up. After the break of this channel, one leg, we should expect a second leg. That's what we get. And so this is a lower high, and you should be playing range rules, but the EMA has been holding prices for a while. So you get the lower high, that would have gotten you a scalp. Then you get a failed second entry long setup, but that fails. And so that's another, that shows you got to, Mack was just talking about this, I think it was yesterday. When you get this chop back and forth and stuff, it's really hard to trade. And yeah, I would have probably looked at this as a failed second entry short. And I think it only gets you 3 ticks, I think. Because you go short beneath that doji, 29, 25. Yeah, you only get 3 ticks in your favor, so that fails, and that's why these ranges you just take lower highs near the strength, support, and resistance. That's near the midline. So this is near the midline too, but this is when, for me, these 2 bounces is when I was like, all right, this is just congestive. So then we find support here, we bounce out, make a huge leg up, and I think because of how strong this leg up was, I think you can take this second entry long. And that turns out to be congestive. You would have scalped out on this pretty quick. That turns out to be congestion. Probably because it's our first real break out of this congestion. You can see we tried to break back in. This is probably a good area to enter, but we don't have a good setup. We break out and we hit a measured move that I had drawn earlier. I'll draw it in case you didn't see it. Just about right there to here, and look at that. Hits that measured move. Crazy. Crazy stuff. And then so we start correcting. You get an overshoot of this congestive area. We start correcting. First entry, second entry, new high. First entry, second entry. And this is aggressive, but it's a failed second entry long. It's also a breakout pullback off of this congestive area. But yeah, we've just been getting chopped up here. So it is aggressive. I had an interruption. I think I was still talking about this trade, and you might be a little concerned. You're going into the lows of this swing too. So not only the lows of the session, but also this swing. So that's definitely an aggressive trade, but it ends up working out and giving you a nice move down. Also, one thing I don't like about that is how far it closes from the EMA. I don't like that, so I hope I would have skipped that if I was trading. But let's take a look at the trades I took, and let's get started. So yeah, we had this. I played this like a breakout of congestion, and my argument for being able to enter on this signal bar is that it's a failure. First failed second entry short. So we also had a this bar closed, so I liked how strong that bar was. So I entered on a limit order. I don't think I would have entered on it otherwise. So I'm not. That's definitely an aggressive trade, but I think, that might be a problem too. That looks like it might be the midline of that congestive area. But I did have it drawn like this along these lows at that point. So Yeah, it's a little aggressive. This is also aggressive, but this, I felt like I was reading this correctly. Because you get the 2 measured legs down, and then you get the first entry, and I was looking for a short setup here. Second entry, so this bar finishes bullish, and comes all the way down here, ticks lower, so it traps people who went short here, and then closes on its high up here. That's a great bullish signal bar. I like that trade. I'm glad I took that. So those are the only 2 trades I took today. I hope everyone had a great day, and I hope you have a great long 3-day weekend. I'll be back next week.